My mother sabotaged every college application I sent. And when I found out why, I made sure the entire admissions board knew exactly what kind of person she really was. Let me tell you how the woman who was supposed to support my dreams became the person who tried to destroy them. I was 17 when I realized something was wrong. It was October of my senior year, and college application season was in full swing. Every kid at school was stressed about essays and test scores and recommendation letters. I was no different. Except my applications kept getting rejected. Not deferred. Not waitlisted. Rejected. Hard rejections from schools I was overqualified for. My SAT score was 1520. My GPA was 3.9. I had leadership positions in 3 clubs. I'd volunteered at the hospital for 2 years. On paper, I should have been getting into at least some of my target schools. But by November, I had 8 rejection letters and 0 acceptances. My guidance counselor, Mrs. Patterson, called me into her office on a Tuesday morning. "Emma, I need to talk to you about something concerning." I sat down in the chair across from her desk. "Is this about the rejections?" "Partly. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've never seen a student with your qualifications get this many early rejections. So I made some calls." My stomach dropped. "What kind of calls?" "I called 3 of the schools that rejected you. Asked if there was something in your application that raised red flags. Something we could address for your remaining applications. And?" She pulled out a folder and slid a printed email across the desk. "This is from the admissions office at Boston University. They forwarded me the letter they received." I started reading. My hands started shaking halfway through the first paragraph. The letter was from my mother. It described me as emotionally unstable, prone to lying, and struggling with substance abuse issues. It claimed I'd been in therapy for behavioral problems since I was 14. It said she was writing as a concerned parent who felt obligated to provide a complete picture of my character. None of it was true. Not one word. I looked up at Mrs. Patterson. "I've never been to therapy. I've never touched drugs or alcohol. This is all made up." "I believe you, Emma. Which is why I'm showing you this." The other schools mentioned similar letters. Different wording, but the same basic message. "Your mother has been writing to every college you applied to." I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger yet. Something worse. The realization that my own mother had been systematically destroying my future. Why would she do this? Mrs. Patterson shook her head. "I don't know. But we need to figure out how to fix it. Can you talk to your mother about this?" "I'll handle it." But I didn't go home and confront her. Not yet. Because here's the thing about revenge. You need evidence first. That night, I waited until my parents were asleep. Then I went into my mother's home office and started looking through her files. I found the folder in her desk drawer. It was labeled Emma College. Inside were copies of every sabotage letter she'd sent. 11 different letters to 11 different schools. Each one crafted slightly differently but with the same goal. To make me look like a disaster that no university would want. I took photos of every page with my phone. Put everything back exactly as I'd found it. Then I found her journal. It was in the bottom drawer underneath a stack of old tax returns. I almost didn't open it. Reading someone's private journal felt like crossing a line. But she'd crossed a line first. She tried to destroy my future. I flipped to the most recent entries and started reading. The entry from 2 weeks ago made my blood run cold. She wrote, "Emma got another rejection today." She looked so devastated. Part of me felt guilty. But this is for the best. If she goes away to college, she'll meet new people. Make new friends. Fall in love. Get married. And then where will I be? Alone with Richard, who barely looks at me anymore. The girls are all I have. If Emma leaves, Rebecca will leave next. And I'll have nothing. I kept reading. Page after page of her justifying what she was doing. Talking about how she needed to keep me close. How my leaving would destroy the family. How I was being selfish for wanting to go away to school. She'd been planning this for over a year. Since the summer before my junior year when I'd started talking about applying to out-of-state schools. I took photos of the journal pages too. Every damning word. Then I sat in her office chair and thought about what to do next. My first instinct was to scream at her. To throw the evidence in her face and demand answers. But that wouldn't fix anything. The damage was already done. 11 schools had rejected me based on lies she told them. No, I needed to be smarter than that. I needed to not just expose her lies. I needed to make sure she faced real consequences. So I made a plan. The next morning at breakfast, I acted completely normal. Mom smiled at me over her coffee. "How did you sleep, sweetie?" "Fine. I have a meeting with Mrs. Patterson this afternoon about my remaining college applications." Mom's face twitched slightly. "Oh? What about?" "Just strategy. She wants to make sure I'm applying to enough safety schools." Mom relaxed. "That's smart. You can't be too careful." I wanted to throw my orange juice in her face. But I just smiled and nodded. "You're right. Can't be too careful." Dad looked up from his newspaper. "Don't worry too much, Emma. You'll get in somewhere." He had no idea what Mom had done. No clue that his wife was sabotaging our daughter's future. "I know, Dad. I'm not worried." After breakfast, I went to school and pulled together my counterattack. First, I met with Mrs. Patterson again. I showed her the photos of Mom's letters and journal entries. She stared at them for a long time. "Emma, this is serious. This is fraud. Your mother forged communications with universities." "I know. And I want to fix it." But I need your help. What do you need? I need you to contact every school that rejected me. Explain what happened. Show them the evidence that my mother fabricated those letters. Ask them to reconsider my application. Mrs. Patterson nodded slowly. That's going to take time. And there's no guarantee they'll reverse their decisions. I know, but I have to try. I'll start making calls today. But Emma, you need to talk to your father about this. He needs to know what your mother did. I will. Soon. But I wasn't ready to tell Dad yet. Because I had one more thing to do first. I went home that afternoon and acted like nothing was wrong. Did my homework. Ate dinner with the family. Went to bed at my normal time. And then at midnight, I snuck out of my room and went back into Mom's office. This time, I wasn't just looking for evidence. I was setting a trap. I opened her laptop. She'd never changed her password from the default one the Apple Store had set up. I knew this because I'd helped her set up the computer 2 years ago. I logged into her email and found the drafts folder. She had 3 more sabotage letters written but not yet sent. To Northwestern, to Georgetown, to USC. I didn't delete them. Instead, I forwarded each draft to myself. Then I went into her sent folder and forwarded every sabotage letter she'd already sent to those 11 schools. Now I had digital copies with metadata showing they'd come from her email address. But I still wasn't done. I opened a new email in her account. Addressed it to her closest friend, Susan. And I wrote, Susan, I need to confess something that's been eating at me. I've been sabotaging Emma's college applications. Writing letters to admissions offices telling them she's unstable and has problems. I know it's terrible, but I can't let her leave. She's all I have. If she goes away to school, I'll be alone. I justified it at first by telling myself I was protecting her. But the truth is, I'm protecting myself. I'm a terrible mother. I don't know how to stop. I saved it as a draft. Didn't send it. Then I cleared the browser history so Mom wouldn't know I'd been on her computer. The trap was set. The next day at school, I met with the principal, Dr. Martinez. I need to report something serious. He looked up from his desk. What's going on, Emma? I showed him everything. The photos of Mom's sabotage letters. The journal entries. The email drafts. The sent messages from her account. His face went from confused to shocked to angry. Emma, this is fraud. Your mother committed fraud against educational institutions. I know, and I want to report it. But I need to do it the right way. I need these schools to know the truth before she has a chance to do more damage. Let me make some calls. Over the next 3 days, Dr. Martinez and Mrs. Patterson worked together to contact every school that had received one of Mom's letters. They explained the situation, provided evidence that the letters were fabricated, requested that my applications be reconsidered without the fraudulent materials. Some schools were sympathetic. Others were skeptical. But all of them took it seriously because it was coming from school officials, not just from me. Meanwhile, I still hadn't confronted Mom. I was waiting for the right moment. It came on a Saturday morning. Mom was in the kitchen making coffee when I walked in with my laptop. Mom, can we talk? She smiled. Of course, sweetie. What's on your mind? I opened my laptop and turned it to face her. On the screen was one of her sabotage letters to Boston University. Her face went white. Want to explain this? She stared at the screen. For a moment, she looked like she might deny it. But then something in her face changed. Where did you get that? From your desk. Along with the other 10 letters you sent to the schools I applied to. She sat down heavily in a kitchen chair. Emma, you don't understand. Then help me understand. Help me understand why you would try to destroy my future. I wasn't trying to destroy anything. I was trying to protect you. Protect me from what? From having a future? From being independent? From making a mistake. You're not ready to go away to school. You're not mature enough to handle it. I felt my anger rising. I have a 3.9 GPA. I'm president of 2 clubs. I volunteer 20 hours a week. What part of that says I'm not ready? You don't understand what it's like out there. College is dangerous. There are drugs and parties and boys who will take advantage of you. So instead of trusting me to make good decisions, you decided to lie to every college I applied to? I did what I thought was best. No, you did what was best for you. I read your journal, Mom. I know the real reason you did this. Her eyes got wide. You read my journal? You sabotaged my future. I think reading your journal is fair game. She stood up. Her voice got louder. How dare you go through my private things? How dare you destroy my college applications? Dad walked into the kitchen. What's going on? I turned to him. Mom has been writing letters to every college I applied to, telling them I'm unstable and have substance abuse problems. That's why I keep getting rejected. Dad looked at Mom. Rachel, is that true? Mom's face crumpled. She started crying. I was trying to protect her. You don't understand how hard it is to be a mother. To watch your child grow up and leave you. Dad's voice got very quiet. So you sabotaged her college applications? I just wanted to keep her safe. That's not your decision to make. The fight that followed was brutal. Dad yelling at Mom about how she'd betrayed my trust and potentially ruined my future. Mom crying and saying she was just trying to be a good mother. Me standing there watching my family fall apart because of her lies. Finally, Dad said something that made the whole room go quiet. I think you should pack a bag and stay with your sister for a few days. We all need space to figure this out. Mom looked at him like he'd slapped her. You're kicking me out? I'm giving us all time to cool down before we say things we can't take back. Mom left that afternoon, drove to her sister's house 2 towns over. And that's when I activated the final phase of my plan. I called every school that had rejected me, not to beg for reconsideration, but to inform them that I was filing formal fraud complaints. I explained that my mother had impersonated a concerned parent to submit false information to their admissions offices, that I had evidence of her deception, and that I was reporting it to the appropriate authorities. Most of the admissions officers I spoke to were shocked. Some were skeptical, but all of them took my information seriously. Then I did something Mom never expected. I called a lawyer. My uncle was an attorney who specialized in education law. I called him and explained everything. Emma, what your mother did could be considered fraud. Wire fraud specifically, since she used email to communicate false information. I don't want to press criminal charges against my own mother, but I want the schools to know they were deceived. Let me make some calls. I think we can handle this without involving law enforcement. Over the next week, my uncle contacted each university on my behalf. He provided them with copies of Mom's actual letters, her journal entries, and a formal statement from me explaining the situation. He framed it as a case of parental interference rather than student misconduct. And he requested that my applications be evaluated solely on my actual credentials, not on the fabricated materials Mom had submitted. 3 schools immediately reversed their rejections and moved me to the waitlist. 2 more scheduled interviews to reassess my candidacy. But the real victory came from Boston University. The admissions director called me personally. Emma, I want to apologize on behalf of our institution. We should have verified the information in your mother's letter before using it in our decision-making process. My heart was pounding. Thank you for saying that. I also want to let you know that we're reversing our initial decision. You're being moved from rejected to accepted, with a full merit scholarship. I sat down because my legs suddenly felt weak. Are you serious? Completely serious. Your actual credentials are exceptional, and we admire the way you've handled this difficult situation with your family. Welcome to Boston University, Emma. I hung up and cried. Not sad tears. Relief tears. Victory tears. Because I'd done it. I'd exposed Mom's lies and salvaged my future. But I wasn't done yet. Mom came back home 3 days later. Dad met her at the door. Before you come in, there's something you need to see. He showed her the acceptance letter from Boston University. The one that mentioned my mother's fraudulent communications and BU's decision to reverse the rejection based on my actual qualifications. Mom's face went through about 15 emotions in 5 seconds. But I was trying to help you. No, you weren't. You were trying to control me. To keep me trapped here because you're afraid of being alone. That's not fair. What's not fair is sabotaging your own daughter's future because you're insecure. Dad stepped in. Rachel, you need professional help. This isn't normal parent behavior. Mom started crying again. I'm not going to some therapist who will tell me I'm a bad mother. You sabotaged our daughter's college applications. What would you call that? The conversation went in circles for hours. Mom defending herself. Dad angry and hurt. Me just tired of all of it. Finally, I said what I'd been holding in. I'm going to Boston University in the fall. With or without your blessing. But you need to understand something, Mom. You don't get to control my life anymore. I'm your mother. I'm supposed to guide you. Guiding is different from sabotaging. What you did wasn't protection. It was betrayal. She opened her mouth to argue. But Dad cut her off. Emma's right. And unless you get help, I think we need to seriously discuss our future as a couple. Mom went pale. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. What you did crossed a line. And I need to know you understand that. Mom looked between us. Finally, she nodded. Fine. I'll talk to someone. But I could tell from her voice that she was only agreeing to save her marriage. Not because she actually thought she'd done anything wrong. Over the next few months, Mom went to therapy. But she spent most of the sessions complaining about how Dad and I were being unfair to her. Her therapist eventually called Dad in for a joint session and gently suggested that Mom had some narcissistic tendencies that were affecting her relationships with her family. Mom's response was to stop going to therapy and claim the therapist was biased against her. Meanwhile, I got 3 more acceptance letters. Northwestern reversed their rejection. Georgetown moved me from rejected to waitlist to accepted. And Duke offered me a spot with partial scholarship. Every acceptance felt like another nail in the coffin of Mom's plan to keep me trapped. She tried to convince me to go to the local state school instead. Told me it would be cheaper and I could live at home. I'm going to Boston, Mom. That decision is made. But what about your sister? Don't you care about leaving her alone? My sister Rebecca was 15. And I'd already talked to her about everything. Rebecca knows how to call me if she needs me. And Dad will make sure she's okay. You're being selfish. No, I'm being healthy. There's a difference. The weeks leading up to my departure for college were tense. Mom oscillated between guilt-tripping me and pretending everything was fine. She'd make comments like, I guess I'll just have to get used to having an empty nest. Or, I hope you remember your family when you're off having fun at school. I ignored most of it. Focused on packing and preparing and counting down the days until I could leave. The day I left for Boston, Mom cried dramatically in the driveway. Dad helped me load my stuff into the car and gave me a long hug. I'm proud of you, Emma, for how you handled this whole situation. Thanks, Dad. Mom grabbed my arm. Can't you stay one more day? We could have a family dinner. No, Mom. I need to get to campus for orientation. You're really leaving me. I'm not leaving you. I'm going to college. Like every other 18-year-old in America. But I knew she'd never see it that way. The drive to Boston felt like freedom. Every mile between me and home was another mile toward my own life. My own future. The one I'd fought for. Boston University was everything I'd hoped for. I loved my classes. Made friends easily. Joined clubs. Started actually enjoying my life without constantly looking over my shoulder. Mom called constantly at first. Every day, sometimes multiple times a day. I just wanted to hear your voice. Are you eating enough? When are you coming home to visit? I set boundaries. Told her I'd call twice a week on a schedule that worked for me. She didn't like that. Accused me of abandoning the family. But Dad backed me up. Told her I needed space to grow and she needed to respect that. Halfway through my first semester, my sister called me crying. Mom's doing it to me now. My stomach dropped. Doing what? She's been going through my college research. Telling me I should stay home and go to community college. She says we can't afford to send 2 kids away to school. Rebecca, Dad makes good money. That's not true. I know. But she won't stop. And Dad's at work all the time. I don't know what to do. Forward me everything she says. Every text, every email. Keep a record. Why? Because if she tries to sabotage your applications like she did mine, we're going to stop her before she starts. Over the next few months, Rebecca sent me screenshots of Mom's messages. All the same patterns I'd experienced. The guilt trips. The manipulation. The suggestions that Rebecca should stay home. But this time we were ready. I helped Rebecca apply to schools without telling Mom. We used Dad's email and had all correspondence sent to his office. When Rebecca got her first acceptance letter to University of Michigan, we told Mom together. Dad was there too. But we can't afford that, Mom protested. Dad shook his head. Yes, we can. And even if it was expensive, we'd make it work. You can't send both of my girls away from me. I looked her right in the eyes. We're not your possessions, Mom. We're your daughters. And we deserve to have our own lives. She started crying. But this time, none of us comforted her. Because we'd all learned that her tears were just another form of manipulation. Rebecca went to Michigan that fall. I was a sophomore at BU. And Mom was left with the exact thing she'd been trying to prevent. An empty nest. She tried to make me feel guilty about it. Sent me long emails about how lonely she was. How Dad was always working. How we'd both abandoned her. I read them and deleted them. Didn't respond. Because I finally understood something important. Mom's happiness wasn't my responsibility. Her loneliness wasn't something I could fix or should feel guilty about. She'd made choices. Bad choices. Choices that drove her family away. And now she had to live with the consequences. 3 years later, I graduated from Boston University with honors. Rebecca was thriving at Michigan. Dad had finally started setting real boundaries with Mom. She was in therapy again, this time taking it more seriously. Mom came to my graduation. Sat in the audience and cried when I walked across the stage. Afterwards, she tried to hug me. I'm so proud of you, sweetie. Thank you. But I didn't say I forgave her. Because I hadn't. Not fully. What she did to me wasn't just a mistake. It was a systematic attempt to control my future because she couldn't handle her own insecurities. She tried to trap me. To keep me small and close and dependent. And when that didn't work, she tried to destroy my chances at the life I wanted. That's not love. That's not protection. That's control. And I'll never forget it. But here's the thing. I won anyway. I got into my dream school. I built the life I wanted. I became the person I was meant to be. Mom tried to sabotage me. And she failed. Because I was smarter. More determined. More willing to fight for myself than she expected. She thought I'd just accept her control. That I'd give up when the rejections started piling up. She was wrong. And now I have a degree from Boston University. A job offer at a great company. An apartment in a city I love. And a future that's entirely mine. Mom's still trying to guilt me into moving home. Still sending emails about how much she misses me. Still trying to control me from a distance. But I've learned to ignore it. To protect my peace. To prioritize my own life over her demands. That's the real revenge. Not just exposing her lies. Not just getting into college despite her sabotage. The real revenge is building a life so good that her attempts to control me don't matter anymore. I'm free. I'm happy. I'm successful. And she's still stuck in that same house. Still lonely. Still bitter that her control didn't work.